are with the tools that I use for pruning. If you're just starting out, I don't expect that you will have all of these tools. The one thing you will have though are your secateurs. With your secateurs, if you're buying new ones, make sure you try them. Make sure you put them in your hand, they fit comfortably, you're able to manipulate that lock with one hand, and that they're easy to manipulate themselves. If you're also buying your secateurs, look for pairs with replaceable blades. It will save you further down the track. Now I use two different sets of secateurs. I don't recommend one brand over the other, it's personal preference. I use one pair for my larger branches and one for the small twiggly branches. With the secateurs, you don't cut anything thicker than your thumb. If you have a branch that is thicker than your thumb, you need to look at using your pruning saw or a pair of loppers. What I will say about secateurs is you need to make sure they're clean, they're sharp, and they're well oiled. When you've finished pruning for the day, make sure you give them a clean in soapy water, then give them a good oil. They're ready for you next time. For those thicker branches, you can move to your pruning saw. This pruning saw I like because it's long, it's narrow, and I'm able to get into the tight crevices, particularly between the fork of branches. The other thing I like about this saw is it has a cutting motion two ways. So it cuts when you're in the forward motion and it cuts when you pull it back in the backwards motion. Again, keep it clean and keep it a little bit of oil helps to also keep the rust down. The luxury item that I have for the really thick branches, often the deadwood, are my long handled loppers. I wouldn't be without these loppers. They're a lifesaver. If you need to save for something and you've already got your secateurs, have a look at buying a pair of loppers. They just cut through with ease any thickness that I have on the rose bushes. These were not an overly expensive pair and worth their weight in gold, these ones. Of course, with roses comes thorns. You will need gloves when you're tackling the roses. If you're just starting out, or in a lot of seasoned gardeners still prefer to have a covering on the back. They have often leather on the back, and that's enough to stop the thorns from coming through and from scratching you. The other thing I have, bottle of methylated spirits. And this is a steriliser, so it stops you spreading disease from one rose bush to another. It's very simple. Unlock your secateurs. Once you've finished your pruning of your bush, give them a spray. Just grab your cloth, give them a wipe. Do that after every bush. You won't be spreading disease from one bush to the other. Now the other thing worth talking about, of course, is clothing when you're pruning. Like I said before, we have thorns on roses. If you can get a top that covers down to your wrist, long sleeve top, that'll avoid you getting so many scratches on your arms and again your legs. I don't tend to like long sleeve tops in the garden, so I have a 3/4 or a t-shirt, and I do pay the price for that. I'm usually covered in cuts and bruises by the time I finish with my roses. Okay, that should be it.